Wow. Hello and welcome. It's me, Mr. Gary. Time on the clock now, 21:16. 16 minutes past 9 on today, 27th of March 2022. March is nearly over, everybody. Hooray! Here comes the spring. If you're watching in the UK and you haven't done already, I believe it's spring forward, isn't it? So clocks go forward an hour today in the UK. Usually that happens at about 2 a.m. in the morning or something like that. And yeah, great to see you all if you're joining. And I'm pleased. So there we go. Anyway, yes, welcome. Tonight's stream we're going to look, or today's stream, wherever you're watching from, we're going to look at EROR as well. So we're not going to mess around. Hello there, Mohammed Ismail. And if you do join into the chat, we're going to really dive into these words. I've got a lot of words for you. Let me tell you, your vocabularies will definitely expand by the end of this stream. So if you might need a pencil, paper, always a good idea to jot some notes down as I go through. Perhaps we're going to practice some of these words as well, practice the usage of them, see how they work in a real world example, real world sentences, etc. Alright, so first let me start by telling you a few things about ER and OR. Alright, so we know in the English language we have a lot of ER and OR words. Some of them can be a little bit tricky, especially when we're trying to remember how do we spell ER, or do we use the word with ER, or do we use with OR? And excuse me if the lighting is a bit crazy outside. We've got quite an epic lightning storm at the moment that's just blown over, and had some quite heavy rain here this evening. So yes, these are called agentive suffixes. Alright, suffixes. So suffixes are bits that go on the end of a word. So agentive suffixes are suffixes that when added to a word turn the verb into a noun. Alright, and this is quite often the case. Not always, but quite often. Example, like someone who plus verb. For example, someone who gives advice is an advisor. Now this is British English, ER, but that we're going to touch on that a little bit later in the stream. Advise is a verb here. However, when we add the suffix OR added, it becomes a noun. Advisor. Advisor. Now, he's an advisor, and this would typically be an American suffix. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well in this stream. Okay, suffixes E and OR are agentive suffixes, and OR suffixes mainly been seen in words which have been derived from the Latin language. Now, Latin is like Old Italian, which is where quite a substantial amount of the English language comes from. Okay, it's based around that. So the Latin words which end in ate have been seen to take the suffix OR, later, but things might have changed, and later is the actual British English spelling. We don't spell it's the same with American as well. The word dictator does not have a variation, so to dictate. Suffix ER is used at the end of almost any verb which involves the usage of an agent or a doer. Alright, you might have heard this when you're doing your English lessons. A doer of some action. For example, to preach. Alright, so example, if we go to a place of worship, a religious place, someone there might preach, and that person could be called a preacher. Alright, if you go to perhaps a Catholic church, or perhaps I won't say a mosque because we have the imams there, don't we? But Certainly in the Christian Catholic world, it would be a preacher. Okay, and can be converted into preacher, right, which is a noun added by the suffix er. Suffixes er and or are preferred words. Sorry, are preferred in words differently by American English and by British English. Right, this is the bit I was speaking about earlier. Spelling variation is present in different regions of the same country also, so that can be something to watch out for. We don't have to worry too much about it, but in certain parts of the world, you'll know, like in Indonesia, we see words spelled differently for the same word. Pakso is one. I've seen it spelled different ways. That there are many examples where, because of different regional variations, the same thing could be spelled differently. Suffixes er and or are agentive. Yeah, it could be electrical interference from the storm. I'm just reading here. Stand by. It could be electrical interference from the storm. I'm just reading here. Stand by here. I think we've got some electrical interference here. Just a moment. Let me have a look. Or it could even be YouTube, or maybe an internet connection problem. So I'll just carry on, and hopefully it'll. Apologies for that. Yeah, we're getting some pretty hefty strikes of lightning down at the moment. So, ooh, yeah. I don't know if you saw my face there. But, oh my gosh, it sounds terrible, doesn't it? I'm glad you told me about that. Just give me a second while I'll try and clean that up, guys. Won't be a second. Oh my gosh, it sounds terrible, doesn't it? I'm glad you told me about that. Let's have a look. Right. Let me go and get that changed. I'm going to see if this will do something with it. Okay. Is that cleaned up a bit? Sounds a bit cleaner now, I think. Is that cleaned up a bit? No, it's not. That sounds weird. I'm going there, don't know. Okay. Right. Let's try that. Is that better? This is an audio test. Testing today's live stream on YouTube. No, it's not. Right, okay. That's a bit annoying. Maybe it's the interference from the storm outside, because I think microphones might be affected. It's the interference from the storm outside, because I think microphones might be affected. Yeah, I'm just looking. Let me move my phone away. Is that going to make any difference? Okay, let's have a look. I can't move that. Can't move that cable. Right, this is an audio test. Further audio test for today. test, audio 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 test. Oh, I was about to stop. Audio test, audio test, audio test, audio test. Oh, I was about to stop. Is that better? Is that better, guys? Let me know in the chat. Yeah, I'm not so sure what's happened there. I'm not so sure. I've literally. I know you couldn't hear me, and now you can. So I had to reset a couple of things. I kind of reset the drivers on the. And switched the drivers over and switched the inputs over a couple of times. Whew. Panic. Panic. It is total honestly, you just never know what goes on in these live streams. You need to just no one knows. You literally you need to make sure that this is working, that's working, this is working, that's working. Is this plugged in? Is that plugged in? Etc. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about ER and OR. I think we should start again. Right, so suffixes ER and OR are used to create nouns of agency, alright, indicating a person or a thing performs the action. Perhaps you want a pencil or a bit of paper, something like that. You want to take notes because there's going to be quite a lot here tonight on this live stream. Of the three, ER is often the most common. OR is much more common than AR because they perform different functions and are pronounced the same way. Ah or okay, ah, It can be difficult to decide which is the correct one to use. When a verb is changed into a noun of agency using a suffix, it will be almost always be ER. But there are some conventions or exceptions to the rule. Alright, so when we have a rule in English, as you know, there are quite often some exceptions. Right, so I'm just going to... I think I panicked and flapped there, so I'm just going to make sure that I can go back to it. Agentive suffixes, that's what they're called. Alright. So, example, someone who plus verb. Example, for someone who gives advice is an advisor. Advice is a verb here, but we often use the suffix OR as it's added to become advisor. Well, that's true in American English, but in British English, yeah, I saw the flash there on my. That was a very close lightning strike, and I think the sound has gone again. That's it. Yeah. Okay. I think it's a good idea if I close the stream. Yeah, I know, I can tell. I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah, I'll close this one and then obviously remove it when I finish. And next time, it'll teach me a lesson whenever.
Whenever there's a live stream, just don't, and there's a storm,
don't bother. So sorry about that, guys. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. It's so intermittent. I can't. It's out of my control. I'm afraid. I'll cancel it today. We'll probably try and catch it tomorrow. Okay. I'll cancel it today. We'll probably try and catch it tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys.